Well, Bitcoin is on a spectacular run this year, eclipsing the 18,000 mark for the first time since December 2017. This means the cryptocurrency has jumped over 150% this year so far. Some experts credit the bull run to the massive stimulus packages governments pushed out in response to COVID-19. To help make sense of all of this, we're joined by Changpeng Zhao, CEO and founder of Binance, the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange by volume. So, CC, there are many different theories behind what's driving the rise of Bitcoin and other digital currencies this year. What are your thoughts?
Hi, Pamela. I agree with you. There are many different reasons. Actually, on top of my head, there's a whole slew of reasons that could have contributed to the rise of Bitcoin price or other cryptocurrencies price. There was the COVID-19 that started the whole thing, and then it caused a economic pressure from in all parts of the world, which in turn caused countries to do very high quantitative easing, stimulus, and therefore inflation. I think that's a pretty big reason. And then also over the last couple of years, the regulatory clarity around cryptocurrencies are becoming more clear. There are now licensed custodian exchanges in various different countries. And this also led into a very high institutional participation. Firms like Paul Tudor Jones, Stanley Druckenmiller, Microstrategy, Twitter, not Twitter, Square, PayPal is now allowing US users to buy and hold Bitcoin. The DBS in Singapore, which actually launched I believe, an exchange pilot, which they later on deleted the page, but I think a lot of people saw it. Greyscale Bitcoin Trust is holding 500K Bitcoins. That's about $10 billion US. So all of this is very positive for the Bitcoin price. There's also China pushing a CBDC, a central bank digital currency, and there was also the halving that happened in May for Bitcoin earlier this year. That severely limits new supplies of Bitcoin. So yeah, I mean, all of this could cause Bitcoin price to rise, and I don't know which one's the bigger factor, but there's a whole list of them. And also now there are more exchanges with better UI UX user experience, better stability and better liquidity for like spot and derivatives, and with this also very large OTC desk servicing the institutional players. So all of this contributes.
Yeah.
And like I couldn't see a reason for the price not to increase.
Lots of factors here at play, but traditionally, looking at gold, which is viewed as a primary store of value, and Bitcoin has often been called digital gold. How likely do you think will cryptocurrency, given its current run, replace the yellow metal?
I think it's bound to happen. It's inevitable. I think Bitcoin is compared to gold in a lot of ways. It does have a lot of the properties of store of value, but it has so many other advantages. Gold is not very divisible. If you want to sell half of a gold bar, it's kind of hard. If you want to sell half of a gold ring, it's kind of hard. Gold is not very easy to transfer. You have to meet somebody physically to actually transfer the gold. It's relatively heavy to carry. If you want to carry that around airports, it's really tricky as well. It's hard to store. You have to have physical space. It's not easy to verify. You don't know like the density of the gold you're getting. Whereas Bitcoin is always guaranteed that if you get some Bitcoin, you get some Bitcoin. And gold is not 100% limited supply. It's rare, but if somebody discovers another gold mine, then there could be more supply. And Bitcoin's very limited supply. So the way I view it is gold is a very good store of value, but its use case is sunsetting, whereas Bitcoin is the new technology that's coming up. And so Bitcoin is definitely the future.
Now, Bitcoin is also famous for its volatility, which we've seen. It plunged to below 4,000 in the year after reaching a record 19,000. Would this hamper its potential to replace, say, paper fiat currency?
I think it doesn't really. So the high volatility is really correlated to the lower market cap. So Bitcoin is only about $300 billion US of market cap, whereas compared to fiat, there's probably a few hundred or close to $1,000 trillion in circulation. So I think that's just a function of the market size. But I don't think this prevents it from growing. In fact, this gives us more room to grow.
Now, what would you say quickly that the prospect that BTC might break the 20,000 level before year end, your prediction?
I don't want to make predictions, but I think I'm always very bullish, so I'm always very optimistic.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time, CZ. That was Changpeng Zhao, CEO and founder of Binance.